Good morning and welcome to the DFL Daily. Richard Carlbaum here, chair of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. Oh boy, what an evening we all had last night. Thank you so much to everybody on this call who helped organize your precinct caucuses. Last night was something big. I know I felt it. I know a lot of folks have been texting me last night and this morning about how energized they feel about that caucus turnout. Even places that didn't go as smoothly as we'd obviously hoped, people still walked away feeling energized, enthusiastic, and excited about what's next in our effort to make sure that people in Minnesota can stand up and do everything we can to deliver a massive electoral defeat of Republicans at the hands of Donald Trump. Our early reports indicate at least 30,000 Minnesotans gathered in person in classrooms, cafeterias, and community centers. Despite the intimidation, threats of ICE, and obviously the cold weather, to take part in the most grassroots kind of democracy and kick off to the 2026 midterm election season and our endorsing process in our road to Rochester, as I've begun to call it. The feeling on the ground was all about energy. People were sending in reports throughout the night, things like many caucus goers said it was the first time they were attending, with a site in Eagan reporting more than 75% first-time attendees. They had 1,000 people in that room, and 75% were the first time there. I had a photo from Senator Hochschild up in Hermantown. He sent me the photo. He said, usually we have 5 to 10 people. This room is packed full in Hermantown. Lyon County reported record attendance for a non-presidential year, and Carver County reported lines just as long, if not longer, when President Barack Obama ran in 2008. After caucuses started, one attendee in Fridley reported a line of around 100 people still waiting to get in. We had lines in St. Cloud, all over the state, really. In Fillmore County, a precinct site ran out of chairs due to high attendance. They went to the room next door where the Republicans were meeting because they had extra chairs. They brought them into their room. One caucus goer said, my precinct captain has been to every caucus in my district since 1996. He says there has never been this many people at our caucus event in those 30 years. Another caucus site volunteer reported an estimated crowd of 500 people compared to their usual 40. This is the kind of energy that we have been expecting. The community power you all brought was incredible. I can't wait to bring it all the way to November with your help. We're going to do that together. But before we get into it today, there's a few things to do for folks to get involved with this week. We have a coffee and conversation events around the state today. This is an opportunity for you to meet with your local regional organizers who are going to be building teams on the ground to make sure that we can win these local races, legislative races, and our statewide races, along with those congressional races. So if you have not checked out one of these coffee and conversations, I encourage you to do so. A volunteer organized rally for our rights in Apple Valley. And then DFL Arts and Craft Night in Rosemont, all happening today. You can go to dfl.org/events to get that information. Okay, let's dive into what we actually saw last night at Precinct Caucus. I'm going to be honest with you all. I'm elated at how well caucus went. Not only relatively smoothly throughout the state, but people showed up enthusiastic and excited to do the work. Minnesotans continue to make us all incredibly proud. They're stepping up every damn time. Our Democratic Farmer Labor Party made a choice to show up for our neighbors and carry out our democratic process when Trump's federal government is actively targeting us in this retribution campaign. We have a good idea of total turnout, and we'll have exact numbers later next week, we expect, and I'm excited to share that final number with you. But this is not the moment to let up. I know we all have data entry to do in our local units and all that important work. We have to remember, ICE is still terrorizing our streets. They're leaving 2,000 ICE agents in Minnesota. They announced a drawdown of 700 agents today. That leaves 2,000 ICE agents still in town. That's 20 times what they usually have here in this state. And we need to have ICE leave Minnesota. And we know Donald Trump is still trying to protect his billionaire friends and his own pocketbook. And all the while, Minnesota Republicans are still doing anything to flatter Donald Trump and nothing to make life more affordable. So here's the thing. Last night, we built a base of people, power that's going to vote these fools out of office. This is our chance right now between now and November. Last night, I want to say very clearly, would not have been possible without any of you. You have been encouraging people to go to caucuses. I know a lot of you have been organizing your local caucuses. You've been recruiting caucus conveners. You've been training caucus conveners. I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, I realize that what happens at Plato is nothing compared to the massive volunteer effort it takes to pull off precinct caucuses. We want to give you all the tools and resources to be successful, and you smashed it out of the park last night. You all created spaces in your neighborhoods to ensure that your neighbors could come together, have a conversation about the future of this country, pass resolutions, elect local leaders, and elect delegates to the organizing unit convention. That's a lot of work, and I don't want to sugarcoat it. I understand that we at Plato owe everybody who helped organize these caucus a deep debt of gratitude. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for making democracy work last night and doing all you could to recruit the best damn volunteers possible to make that successful. You know, you made this happen under a federal occupation by ICE agents. That's not something to ignore. It's one one small thing to celebrate in this tough time. We had dozens and dozens and dozens of volunteer lawyers waiting to answer a phone call that something had gone wrong. Not one phone call came in. We had a lot of staff here at the DFL working our hotline that was not lawyer related, not legal related, and hardly any calls came in. I think one funny story, one of our caucuses took place in a high school, and of course there's students milling about the high school, and they had brought pizza in for the volunteers, and the high school students stole the pizza because they're hungry. We ordered more pizza. We could solve that problem. It wasn't a problem when you can just order more. And so thank you to everyone who showed up, who took the worthwhile risk to show up for your neighbors and to come together to make this happen. I'm not surprised that you did this, but I'm definitely impressed and deeply, deeply grateful. So we learned a lot about caucuses last night, and it's very exciting to me that 30,000 people showed up in person, in community, and we took meaningful steps to prepare us to keep people safe. The bottom line is people showed up, and that mattered. People showed up despite the threats of ICE and other concerns that we had. But now that the caucus is done, it's time to look ahead. There are 30,000 people who showed up last night, right? And some of them went on to become delegates. It's upon all of us to figure out what is the next thing we're inviting those people to. Because if they show up at a precinct caucus and do the work on February 3rd and we don't engage them between now and November, we're going to have really left a lot on the field. We need to figure out how to develop different events in the coming weeks and months to make sure that these people get radical invitations to everything. We can invite them to a training. We can invite them to a door knock. We can invite them to a coffee and conversation. But all of us should be thinking within our own spheres of influence. How do we extend an invitation to the people who showed up last night so that we keep them engaged going forward? You know, we've organized 9,000 constitutional observers who are out there right now defending our communities. Tens of thousands have hit the streets to do that observation. It's so important. And we're showing up in quieting essential ways, checking in on neighbors with grocery runs. And we're investing in our party. February is Shop Local, Stand Together month, as you probably saw from the governor. When you need something, try to get it from your neighbor's business. And look, as much as I wish it didn't matter, money does matter. The DFL just released its fundraising numbers from 2025. We had a record-breaking fundraising year. We raised $11.8 million, and we currently have a 33-1 cash advantage over Minnesota Republicans. They have 142,000 on hand, and we have 4.7 million coming into 2026. We are a party that is in a strong financial position, and we're going to continue that. Here's what the money will do. It builds the infrastructure we need to fight back so that Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans think twice about targeting our state again. This is how we invest in our organizers on the ground and our local units to make sure that you have the tools and resources you need to be successful. November 3rd, 2026 is the midterm election, less than 9 months from now. That's our big day. And right now we've got a strong start, but we need to keep building that momentum. So here's your call to action today. Head to dfl.org/daily, take 2 minutes, and please fill out our caucus exit poll so we know what issues you're ready to organize around and so that we can build a strategy that reflects your priorities. Also, think about what is that event you're going to host in your area, in your own sphere of influence, in your own kind of daily life. What are you going to do to invite people who attended caucuses on February 3rd to the next event so that we keep them engaged and we keep them in the pipeline? And then finally, be on the lookout later today for one more email blast with a full recap of what we saw from caucus night and what steps folks can take to keep the energy going into the next election cycle. This is an email that you should feel free to send to your networks as well. All right, folks, there's 272 days until the November 3rd, 2026 midterm elections. We have 272 days left to build the grassroots power to hold Donald Trump and Minnesota elected Republicans accountable. Between now and then, we're going to keep doing the work every single day. Remember to start that text, what's next? Name it, take action. What are we doing next? All right, folks, thanks for being here. We'll see you tomorrow. Let's go win this thing.